Crash Course Live is presented by
Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, host of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com.
Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now your host, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the Crash Course, episode number 213. Hi to everybody that is joining us at home. We're coming to you live from the North Park building here at Academy Square. Brian joining us here in studio. Brian nodding his head in affirmation, excited to be along for the ride on this one.
Much better than I was last Monday. Glad to be here.
In terms of, in what sense? About how it's
I was still, at this point, not sure I was going to live.
Oh, because of being sick?
Yeah.
Yeah, was it clinically diagnosed flu?
I don't know. It was some sort of, it was funny. My wife and I went out for her birthday and went to one of the local establishments, and everything was great. And then we got home and we were laying in bed talking, and I was just about to sleep. She's like, man, I feel full from dinner still. And I'm like, that was hours ago. You should still feel full. The next thing I remember, she was coming back into the bedroom, sitting something down on the floor, and I'm like, did you get sick? She was like, yeah. And then 2 hours later, I was following her footsteps.
Really? I
had not been sick like that in a long time, and it was about a full 24 hours.
Yeah.
So definitely happy to be here last week and talk to the guys. Unfortunately, I didn't make it. But
I was trying to think of the reference you might have been making to a couple of weeks back, not being sick, but when it was about. Well, when we talked, you could see your breath in the room. Here, it's a little warmer in here.
You see, they're calling for like another foot of snow this weekend.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I had some dental work that had to be done earlier today, and when I went out, the defroster in the minivan wasn't working.
Awesome.
There was ice on the outside and on the inside of the glass, so I put the windows down in 0-degree weather and hung my head out the window and drove across town to the dentist appointment. It was cold. It was cold.
Was it like refreshing though?
It was painful? It wasn't fun.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Saturday morning, we'd went out to start my truck because we were getting our driveway plowed. Zach comes back and he goes, Dad, your truck doesn't even make a noise when I try to start it. And I was like, that's not good. Must have left the key on in some way, shape, or form, and trying to start it Saturday morning in that wind and snow whip, and I let it set and went out and got it going yesterday. So it's a good weekend, though. I mean, it's good that Mother Nature is back doing what it should be doing in New York, and not going to lie, I'm kind of looking forward to going to Florida here in 3 weeks.
Yep. Florida's coming. WinterSLAM's coming. Capital City Carnage is coming. We're 2 months away from Capital City Carnage.
That's crazy.
Yeah, think about that.
It's like 50-some days, I think.
It's not a lot. Tim Clark is joining us. He's waiting in the wings right now to talk a little bit about where things are at as a whole for Capital City Carnage, for Bash for Cash, for Blizzard Bash. The biggest question that we got going into this evening's program, Tim, that has nothing to do with Capital City Carnage. Instead, everybody's asking about the rule changes that could be coming and when the rules are going to be out for Blizzard Bash. Have we got any direction on that yet?
It should be out really. I got my guys really on it pretty bad. I mean, I'm hoping to have them out within the next 2 weeks, to get them rules out. But there's no really major rule changes, some clarifying some things, but we like the rules out there, and we're going to leave them pretty much with the way they are, just clarifying a couple things.
I know a lot of people think that's a fantastic decision. Music to their ears.
Mm-hmm. Guys got to get those cars out so they get properly suited for next season.
Yeah, they got to get them out in the water.
Yeah, get them out, properly seasoned. I guess is the best word.
But how's everything going? I mean, if you can believe it, it feels like we just got wrapped up with Blizzard Bash, and now we're eyeing Capital City Carnage here 2 months away.
Yeah, Capital City Carnage is doing good. I mean, there's only a couple entries in each class is left, so I think it's going to be a hell of a show out there. And, we actually opened up the 2-man, opened a whole nother heat up with them because we had so many people wanted it in. So we're going to run 2 heats of the one-shot deals of that. So awesome. It's going to be a hell of a show. That's
fantastic. So the guys that have something dumb happen in the first group of the 2-man extreme class, they can always turn around and come back and run the second?
Well, actually, the second class, they're both full. So we're going to run with the cars that we have, I think we took 60 cars for that class there. So, we're going to run 2 31 shot deals and go from there.
That's awesome.
So,
30 cars?
I think it's right at 27 to 28 cars that are going to be in a heat if everybody shows up. So,
wow.
Yeah, it's going to be a great show.
I would guess that it's a pretty popular class. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably could have done another heat of them, but we have to stop it sometime. There's only a couple days out there to do that whole show, so
you got to sleep with
2 heats and trying to see what it goes this year and maybe better things for next year.
Tim, the last time we talked, you said that there was still some spots open for the mod class. Is that started to fill in a little more?
The mod class is not looking the greatest out there. I think we made a wrong decision in running that class. It's like, halfway there, but not very well. But we're going to run it and go with it, and what happens. I don't know if all the cars got tore up from Blizzard Bash or what's going on there, but it's going to be really good money for what cars is going to be in that class. That's for sure.
I would think the guys,
which the good money probably still won't dent the expenses to build one.
I would think the guys would want to come try that. If you got something left from Blizzard Bash and you want to try some different stuff, I think that'd be the time to do it.
That brings around a different question, though. We talked about how hard the hits were and how the extensive the carnage was. Did we see? I don't remember it offhand. I'm sure other people that are watching at home, they've got their opinions on it. Feel free to message in. Did we see a percentage more carnage and destruction this year? Did more cars walk away from there to the point where they were used up, or are people looking also on the flip side of that? Are they not running the mod car because they got the drivetrain and motor coming out of it so they can build their next whatever down the line, and they're not running the mod cars a second round?
I don't know. That's an excellent question. Last year, do you remember how many cars we had out there last year in that heat, Chris? 10, 12, 15?
I don't think it was that high.
Was it like 12?
I think it was
the
probably
mod class?
Yeah, the mod class last year. Like a dozen, I think.
See, I thought there was more than that, because we're right at 10, and I thought that was terrible. I thought there was like 15 to 16 in the mod class last year.
I know.
So if there's 12 cars, we're right there at 10. So hey, we're right on schedule then. I thought there was a lot more. I thought maybe the cars got kind of tore up at Blizzard Bash. Why we're not seeing them, but maybe we're in good shape then.
I can't remember. I remember it was an awesome heat. There was a lot of track space.
Who'd be able to tell us? Matt Tice.
Yeah. There was definitely a lot of room, but I thought it was somewhere in that 12 to 15 range. But I'm not sure. Usually Chris reels this stuff off like it's
usually yeah.
Yeah, but
I felt like it was like a dozen. And again, by all means, if somebody has a correction on that or can clarify better, feel free to message in.
Yeah, it's definitely Capital City Carnage is obviously growing. It's every year it's filled up quicker and quicker. I can't wait to get out there.
Huh.
Last year
seems to be a trend.
Yeah, no kidding. Last year there was a bunch of roundbacks out there. I kind of wonder if that's going to be the
Turners,
the car of choice. Turners had them. Jimmy Johnson had one.
Dave had one.
Was Chad there last year or no? No, Chad was not there last year.
No, Chad was not.
Yeah, I mentioned Chad there this year in the wagon.
Yeah, he had his hands massaging the wagon that Jimmy
was
built.
running.
Yeah.
Yep, that's for sure. But definitely looking forward to it. How's your fair schedule looking, Tim? I know you and Russ were at the convention last weekend or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it looks like we got pretty much everything that we had last year, and probably maybe 5 more this year. It's looking really good. Russ was like, "Man, we got to slow down." And I'm like, it's full speed ahead, Russ. It's not slowing down, but but yeah, it's doing good.
When you're at a point where you've got, that's going to put you somewhere around 47 to 50 shows, right?
Yeah, it'll be right up there with with right around 50 with everything going on. I do believe that we'll be getting.
So everybody keeps suggesting the Demolition Derby's dying, and you're picking up more shows. You're going to host 50 shows next year. Where, in your perspective, is the sport? You guys have some of the heaviest builders in Ohio. on a regular basis turning out, and it's not necessarily that they're running the same car all year round. They're building new stuff out there. What's the state of the sport from your perspective?
I think that, you know, the derbies are out there. I mean, I think it's just like anywhere else. I think there's some shows need to go away because the county fairs, they're just so close together. Mm-hmm. You know, if what I was kind of beating on the county fairs this year about is, you know, yeah, my rates are going to go up, but I'm going to pay more money. Mm-hmm. You know, to keep the drivers happy. Mm-hmm. You know, so I think they're going to be around for a little while longer. You know, some's going to go away, some's going to stay. You know, but even here in Ohio, it seems like the hard cars, the smash it style cars, the mod cars, they're still out there. I mean, we're getting shows that you get a lot, then you get shows that you're not. So we're starting to that wire class that we're doing at the Bash. I think we're going to bring that out to more of the county fairs here in Ohio. So it's an easier build because these county fairs are like one right after another. So we're going to try something a little different this year, see if that helps us out.
Tim, as a promoter, I mean, obviously, you know, you now have you guys have the three biggest shows in the country. Like when you do a fair show or, you know, like a midweek standalone show, is it almost relaxing? I mean, is it like no stress when you do one of those now? I mean, is it got to that point where, you know, it's just, you know, everything's pretty easy, or do you have more stress sometimes from the locals? I mean, how does it work out?
No, you still get stressed. I mean, I won't lie. I mean, you still get stressed out. I mean, you're always worried about different things, trying to keep everybody happy. But of course, we all know you can't do that. So, no. I mean, from the biggest to the littlest, you know, show, I mean, you still have to put the same amount of time into them to get it to be where they're at now. So, I mean, there's stress involved in it.
I don't know how there couldn't be, because at the end of the day, it's still a business. So there's going to be some stress that's tied to it. But I mean, we've heard some horror stories about fairs that have a full size division, and you know they get 6, 8, 10 cars show up, and they run a one and done. And you know, some of these places, they've got a mishmash of rules where you've got a wire class type car that shows up, or a guy that's driving his first derby that doesn't know what he's doing up against a mod car or a compact car, and they just put them all in there together. Yeah. And you know, those are. And then at the end of the day, after you break your arm because you're in an undersized car, the winner only walks home with $300 anyway. You know, it's that's an extreme. You know, but there's still stories that are similar to that out there, and those are the kind of shows that I think they're the ones that are going to fall off first. Yeah, I think that there's enough strength in numbers with the sport where those are the ones that are going to go away first, because eventually it's just not going to be profitable, or they're going to cut the purse so much that they're going for $100 and nobody's going to show up.
Well, and that's
right. And I mean, I'm in this thing for the long haul. I mean, even if I go to a county fair and you get 4 cars that's pretty much say what I call stock, and then you get my smash it cars show up, I'm not the type of guy to throw them 4 right in that class. I'll make a whole new class, because, I mean, I want the guy with the small guy to enjoy it just as good as the guy that, you know, in the heavy cars, because if one guy don't enjoy it, he's not coming back. So, you know, it might cost me a little more to do a county fair to keep everybody happy, but, you know, you got to spend money to make money. That's how I look at it.
Right.
And that's where Russ comes in and goes, Tim's food. I don't know. You know, and I was just going to touch on at the New Year's Eve party this year, Josh got up and talked, and I think he kind of surprised Tim and Russ, because he mentioned them with a lot of, you know, lot of admiration. And it's true, though. I mean, you look, and, you know, every year, you know, Smash It keeps getting more shows, and they keep getting, you know, the drivers keep coming back. It's, you know, because of how good, you know, Tim and Russ and their crew treat the drivers, you know. And it's not just about money, because, you know, the money goes away. It's about the respect and working together and all that stuff. You know, that's, I mean, it's, you know, everybody's won a derby. It's great to have that money, and it's great to have the trophy, but to leave someplace and say, you know, these guys treated me well, and, you know, they took care of this issue, and we did that, and that's, I mean, that's important. And that was a big topic going into Blizzard Bash this past year. I had a lot of guys say, "Hey, what are Tim and Russ like, and what's their crew like?" And like Josh said, I mean, these guys just keep growing and growing in Ohio, and obviously they're not growing because they're not doing something right. You know what I mean? They're obviously doing something right, and that's something that can only help the sport. I mean, Tim said something very wise to me. I took as very wise once, is that as a promoter, obviously Smash It is in Demolition Derby to make money. Nobody's in business to lose money. But Tim told me that you don't have to make all your money on one show.
True.
So you don't have to gouge drivers, you don't have to gouge fans, give back. And at the end of the year, everybody makes a little money and everybody's happy. Right. There's just different things, that Josh has heard these guys say, and I've heard him say. You know what I mean? And we've talked as in depth as possible,
and as candid as possible.
Yes, yeah, absolutely candid as possible. And that's the one thing I really I want to stress to drivers. I mean, if you're on the fence about running one of these guys at show, I would stake anything. This is definitely where you go. I mean, great inspection. They work with you. You may not like their decision, but they're not going to be disrespectful about it. They're not going to, you're not going to get swore at and belittled, and but you're going to have a chance to fix stuff, and that's what keeps them. That's what keeps them successful, is the way they treat people. That's the biggest thing, is respect, and it goes a long way.
You have to respect people a lot, and you got to take care of them. I mean, especially these derby drivers. I mean, talking about the big shows at least, the Blizzard Bashes, the Capital Carnage, the Bash for Cash. I mean, they got so much time in their cars, and I can see good things coming, and that's why kind of what we did, when we had the opportunity to take over two of the biggest shows out there, with Capital Carnage and Blizzard Bash. I can see Demolition Derbies in the next couple of years going to be big things. There's going to be big things out there. There's a lot of new promoters starting, and I wish them well, but I think we're all going to have to kind of bite down and take care of these drivers. That's for sure.
That's what Josh and Jeremy and Josh are they're planning on doing. I mean, Jeremy Gully stepped up, and he's having a $4,000 to win compact show in New York State. I mean, there's nobody that's ever done that before in New York. I don't know if anybody's done it in the Northeast. I mean, that's a high paying compact show.
Very much so.
And I think he
never one that's compact focused. There's been ones where the Luminous and stuff were able to run against other full size stuff, but never advertised as a compact show.
I mean, they're doing it the right way. And I've talked to Jeremy behind the scenes, and Jeremy's got some really cool ideas. As Tim and I talked at the party, and Tim's got some really cool ideas. So I'm just I really think that Derby as a whole is in a great spot right now. I really do. I mean, there's a lot of good things coming, and I hope we can get a younger generation that can will start stepping up and coming through. I mean, there's some younger guys in the Midwest and in Ohio that have do a lot of win and do a lot of good stuff. I just hope we can continue it, because there's definitely some good stuff coming down the road.
I think this wire class thing is going to inject some new life. We've seen the last 3 years now that wire class at Bash for Cash, and what a spectacular show it was. They're running some cars that are really, really good and they're coveted cars, and some cars that are just sort of toss-away cars that somebody wants to go out and have some fun with, and it fills up year after year. And Tim's alluded to it before about the strength of that class, and they started out with 2, and then they had to add a third because they had so many overflow, and now we're sitting at 3 again. And Tim, correct me if I'm wrong, that's the wire class, all of the wire classes, the 3 new style and the old iron Frank the Tank wire class, those are all sold out at this point, right, at Bash for Cash?
Yeah, they're all sold out, and I probably could start 5 more heats of each one if I really wanted to. But I try to tell people you just have only so much time to do something like that, But yeah, I can see, even with the Bash, with the wire thing, the class, I can see it actually growing to be a bigger show than what it is now. Try to do some more other things and maybe bigger paying, have a heat and a feature or something like that.
But isn't that the charm of that class, being a one and done? I mean, not to cut you off, but isn't that one of the reasons why everybody's driving the way that they do, is that it's a one and done? If you throw it into heats, it doesn't have the potential to go back fast.
Right, and that's why we kept it like it is this year again.
Right.
We took a survey with everybody, and everybody's like, hey, I want to be involved in Bash for Cash, but I just want to come and run and load my car up on the trailer and be done with it and party the rest of the weekend and enjoy the whole weekend, so
it's not an awful philosophy.
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, in all reality, and again, I apologize to Tim for this because I was trying to smash its money at the New Year's Eve party, but I think it'd be cool, like for the wire class. I mean, if you had enough cars.
Time out. Did you bring up the Combine Derby again?
No.
Okay. All right. Carry on.
Yet. All right. But I mean, with a wire class, I mean, you could run if you had enough cars, you could run 6 or 8 standalone heats, and then maybe the top 2 cars. Each heat has an individual winner. It's like a second place. You pay those guys.
Like a grand championship.
Yeah, and then if those 12 cars, whatever, could make it, you could run something like that. But I was talking with guys last year, and I agree. I think if you tried to run heats with that car, I think it would maybe change up the dynamic style a little bit. But that's the last couple of years, the Frank the Tank old wire or old iron and the 80s and newer wire, they have put on a show. Matt Gaskin Sr.'s got 2 Mad Dogs the last 2 years. I see he's bringing a Cadillac out this year.
I mean,
just great heat.
There's been a lot of New York names that finished well there. A lot. Alan McNeil, Pat Osman, Serena Brandt.
Yep.
I'm blanking on so many of them now.
Not Pennsylvania or not New York, but Suicide and Cadillac won 2 the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Claire and Tiffany. Claire and Tiffany.
Yeah.
So I mean, who's gonna step up and beat those guys? But I mean, they're great heats, and they're I mean, if you want to see stuff get just tore up and junked, they're the heats you're gonna go and watch.
Mm-hmm.
It's and Tim and the boys have made some changes and some other rules for Bash this year, and I'm looking forward to see how that's going to turn out. So
yeah, what's the future of that going to be like with the situation that we've got at hand with we've got the conversions to leaf springs? What's the response been there, and is that something that's going to have traction for years to come, or are you going to be in a situation where you've got to revisit these topics again?
Well, you never know. I mean, right now the entries are right where they. Like the kicker class is actually a little higher than what they was last year. We still got some entries we could take for that class. Mm-hmm. Turn back the clock is a little higher than what it was last year when we added the leaf springs right now, but there's still plenty of entries for that class. And we just kind of wanted to break it up to see if we can get more cars in that class, or that's why we kind of went to this old iron winning the turn back the clock, or the new iron winning the kicker class, stuff like that. Break it up to see, do we kind of just move it all into one and make a metric class? Because it seems like Ohio and Kentucky, there's a set of metric rules out there that is working really well, besides the wire rule, and make another class and combine both of them. We don't know. I mean, but maybe it'll fill up and the turn back the clock will steal the show again, and we'll keep running it. So it all depends. I mean, you never know what we're going to do. And I mean, some people say old irons are hard to get, but in May at the end of the weekend, and you had the old iron class, I say steal the show, and I mean, you got to try it. You got to keep it. Then you had people saying the sedans can't compete with the wagons, and you get a lot of wagons at the Bash. So that's where we came up with the leaf spring rule, where to add leaf springs to see if it would even out the field. So a guy in a station wagon wouldn't be stealing the show. Maybe a sedan guy that can buy a car for $8,000 to $1,000 or $1,500, put leaf springs under it, and compete with a $4,000 roundback wagon in here in Ohio. So we're just trying different things to see how it works this year.
When was the last time Bash for Cash Turn Back the Clock class was won by something other than a wagon?
Actually, Josh Braun won it. He won in a sedan. I don't know what year it was, to be honest. It was 3 or 4 years ago. It
was the first year that we went out there as crash course. Josh won it with an Impala.
Yep. I was going to say,
Sam, have you heard from any guys with questions about Imperials?
I pretty much anybody calls me about rules, I just forward them to Russ's number. So I'll answer the easy rule, I guess, question. But if it starts getting to any major rule question, I just send to Russ. And, I answer my phone so many times a day or call somebody back. I don't have time to say what kind of car you're going to run, what year is it,
Yeah.
So I really never know what kind of question they're asking. If they'll ask about a bumper shock rule or something like that, I'll say, here, call this guy. So,
Nice.
I used to do all that 10 years ago, like what kind of car you're running, but I don't got time for all that no more.
No, not as big as that's gotten. Slightly off topic, Russ was telling us at the party he was going back to work. Is he back yet, or is he still waiting?
No, Russ, the 20th of this month,
cool.
He should have all his paperwork in where he could go back to work, and
cool.
So it'll be getting right back from. We're going to go out to the Iowa Derby party, then we're going to go to Florida to see that Derby in action, and we'll be getting him back to work.
Cool.
Right after that.
Very cool. Yeah, I know he was pretty excited at the party about the idea of going back to work. He sounds pretty bored, so great to hear. And things sound like they're going good. So
yeah, I don't know if he's that bored right now because I've been keeping him pretty busy, actually, for sure. So so
that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to get back to work, and he deserves to get back to work. That's for sure. I mean, there's still a long road ahead of him.
Yep.
But everything's doing good with him right now. So.
Yep. We were talking, and I told him because at at Blizzard Bash, he had a little bit of a speech issue, but I told him which I mean you probably haven't noticed because you're with him every day, but his speech has definitely improved. I noticed that at New Year's Eve, so I can definitely. I know it's probably frustrating for him and you guys, but like for me who hadn't seen him since November, he definitely seems that seems to be improving. So. Seems like, and he said he's getting more sleep, so that's awesome. He's definitely on the upswing of things getting better, so very happy for him.
He hasn't lost a step at poker.
No.
No. I told him, I said, what you need to do? We need to do it next year at the Derby party, say all these promoters, because that's pretty much, what was it, 3 promoters right there doing that.
Yeah.
I was like, it has to be $1,000 buy-in. I was like, we got to figure out, then they can use that money to put their Derby on or whatever, whoever wins. So, I said, but Russ, he likes that cards thing. I'm not into big gambling like that, so.
No, but you won the 50-50.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. I couldn't believe I did that. So you never know.
Oh goodness, it was definitely a good time. It was fun having you guys up here. So
it was a great time. It wasn't a bad drive up there. We actually went through Erie on the way home. It was a lot faster. It was snowing a little bit when we was driving home, but it wasn't as bad as everybody was saying it was on the news that we got freaked out. We went clear around, I think, United States to get there the first time.
You must have followed Brodzinski. He made the tour, too.
Yeah. So it was a great time seeing everybody, seeing some new people, and visiting with everybody. So, I mean, you guys put a hell of a party on, that's for sure.
Cool.
We tried to.
You guys made it.
Yep. We got some folks up over the border that want to know if that $1,000 buy-in is Canadian or American funds.
American. That's the only way.
American. So that means they got to pay $1,500 to play.
Exactly.
That's brutal.
Well, okay, make it Canadian. We don't care.
There you go.
So,
Christy Germain's going to be happy now. She's $1,000 buy-in.
You need to get a couple more promoters there so they can get into this poker tournament or something.
There you go. Sounds like a plan.
Russ is probably yelling at me right now because I'm throwing him under the bus about being a poker genius or something. I don't know.
Well, on the plus side, you haven't said anything incriminating about the 3 shows. Not that we've really thrown anything out there that could get you in too deep water.
No, not too deep, But I'll just say this. I mean, I can see Blizzard Bash even growing pretty big for that team event. Mm-hmm. I mean, both of them, the qualifying and everything, I can see, I know right now everybody's on the fence freaking out thinking I'm bringing all kinds of crazy rules out there, but we're definitely not changing nothing crazy. We're going to go through the rules and kind of reword them a little bit, and hopefully we make them better. But you have people that read between the lines, I guess, and come in with crazy stuff just to do it. But I mean, if everybody stays with us, I can see them shows growing really well for everybody.
I could too, because Tim whispered in my ear what he was thinking. So definitely worth going back there for years to come.
Oh, Blizzard Bash is the one that wants to make $250,000 to win?
I don't know about that, but
I don't know about, I can, I mean, seriously, it's voted number one, and Sam definitely, hats off to that guy. He built a hell of a show. I mean, there's no question about it. It is the number one show, and when it's a team event out there, it's the best team derby out there. I don't care who's putting it on. Blizzard Bash is far the best team event.
Oh, yeah. I don't think anybody's going to challenge that, and I don't think anybody's going to rival that.
No.
It is an outstanding show front to back, and we're going to get to see the singles version of it when we get back down to Topeka here in just a couple weeks for Capital City Carnage. Capital City Carnage taking place at the Kansas Expo Center in Topeka, March the 15th from 7 to 10. That's the heat draws. March the 16th, that's the Friday night. 7 o'clock start time, limited weld heats, 1 through 10, top 2 advanced. That gives us 20 cars going on track out of the 100 entries. Again, it is limited. March the 17th is part of a doubleheader, 10 o'clock start time, limited weld constellations, 1 through 5, which is going to give us another 10 cars to add to that feature event, so potentially 30 cars on track. I think it's safe to say that we probably won't see all 30 out there. Again, limited weld rules, the order of the day for Capital City Carnage. Again, 10 o'clock start time on March the 17th, limited weld constellations and the top 2 advanced, plus the compact feature, which is 2,500 wins. 7 o'clock start time for the evening program. That's the championship round for the limited welds. It's $10,000 to win, $5,000 Mad Dog. Remember, Teddy Papadopoulos set out with a goal in mind and delivered in rare form, taking home that $5,000 prize last year. Modified feature, 2,500 to win. Extreme two-man feature, 2,500 to win. And the second extreme division has been added to that as well, and we've talked a little bit about it. Might better do it right now while we've got Russ on the phone. Bash for Cash 2018 is going to be at the Ross County Fairgrounds in Chillicothe, Ohio. Near at Big Rock, $11,000 to win kicker class is going to be combined with new and old iron. There's an old iron bonus in the event a metric car wins. They get old iron bonus in the event an old iron car wins, $3,000 extra going to them, or a $1,500 bonus to the highest placing old iron if it's won by a metric. In the derbytees.com turn back the clock class, the bonus is reversed. If it's won by a metric, the extra $3,000 goes to that car, or it's $1,500 to the highest placing metric if it's won by an old iron. 10,000 win DEC headers compact class also on the menu. Frank the Tank old school wire class, full size trucks, youth compacts, compact trucks. There's all openings left in those. It's only $75 to enter. 80s wire class and street stocks at this point are full. Online, smashitderby.com, Smash It Demolition Derbies. Tim Clark hanging out with us here for a little while. Was there anything that we might have missed that we should have hit on in our quick discussion this evening?
I don't think so. I mean, I better just quit while I'm ahead, I guess, before I just let the cat out of the bag. But, we'll be talking soon. All
right. Well, that sounds good.
I'd like to hear.
Why don't we just leave it at that then, and it'll keep you out of hot water with your brother, too.
All right. We'll see you guys.
All right. We'll see you later. Thanks.
Bye.
You can just see Russ listen to the show doing
every
this
time. Every time. It's common knowledge that Russ doesn't want Tim coming on the show.
Oh goodness!
Like don't have him on. Don't have him on if I'm not able to supervise.
Oh goodness! What I've touched on, I mean, they definitely form such a great team. They really work well together, and they have a great crew. And like I said, I mean, I'm not going to say anything, but Tim and I talked about some really cool things, and Derby's going in a good place. And I think there's going to be a lot of happy people. So I would.
We need more happy people.
Yeah.
We need more happy people. Rachel Wazorek having a birthday today. Happy birthday to her. Anniversary for Dan and Kristen O'Connell today. And Tim Kerr. Tim Kerr's birthday as well today, which is, Tim Kerr?
No. Sorry.
Dirt modified driver.
Really?
Yeah. Won at Brewerton a couple years ago.
Sorry.
No. It popped up on my Popped up on Facebook. We had him on.
You know everybody.
He never won, and then he rattled off 3 wins in a row or something crazy a couple of years back.
Cool.
It was cool to see. It was fun. We hit on a couple of them. Mandan jumping off the page. The slide wouldn't fit on here, so I got to jump in and get that adjusted. But I'll get that information out for everybody. Mandan is happening. Derbies of Dakota is helping make that happen for Mandan and for Crash Course together. The 9th is the day of the Derby, Saturday the 9th. It's all going to go down.
Which month?
Of June.
There you go.
Thank you.
There's a lot of nights throughout the year. There's at least 12 of those.
Yeah, June the 9th is the date for that. Some more surprises yet to come. They've added an extreme class out there, which I don't know if that's a good decision or a bad one, but basically you're going to have 10 cars that 20 people volunteer for concussions with the way that they drive out there. Mm-hmm. That's going to be something to see. The trucks, of course, going to be a real popular add-on to that event as well. And then they've got the team element out there, of course, which is always popular. A lot of people looking forward to that one, Mandan. If you got questions about it, the one and only Dustin Anderson in charge, assisting anyway with the interpretations of the rules and inspection and such and the like. So you can go ahead and get a hold of him. Track him down through Facebook. There's a group on Facebook, Mandan Demolition Derby. They've got all the dates. They've got photos. They got all sorts of stuff from last year. And that event, we are going to be a part of it. So that's looking forward to that one forthcoming. I'm trying to keep up with everything. Man, Facebook's busy tonight.
Everything good, or are you
No, not getting yelled at yet. Christy King said that she likes the idea of having it converted to either American or Canadian currencies. Not that it matters now because Russ already took all of her money. Big thank you from Stern Dirt Racing. May Mania is going to be the first event on their calendar. That coming up on the 18th and 19th, 2-day show for May Mania this year. It's going to be happening at the Spirit of 46 Arena. That big open-air arena that they just built at Salt Lake City Park in downtown Salt Lake City. We're going to be following the same format as the Heber City program from last year with the Wasatch Wipeout, where they got heats the first night, the grudges in the afternoon, and then the features that evening. Big thank you out to all the drivers, supporters, partners, and especially the fans that helped make 2017 a successful year for Stern Dirt Racing. Ticketing information and additional event info is available online at sterndirtracing.com. Road Rage Entertainment, this one I'm really looking forward to. This is going to be a good time. Big team derby, compact division, sold out. The truck teams, I think they are now sold out. We had last information officially was one spot left, but I'd had some other messages come through that right now people were looking at that final spot. So the truck teams most likely sold out. Full-size V8 teams, there's spots available, but again, those are limited as well, so it's almost completely sold out on the team side of things. There's also one and dones for the full-size V8s, the junk runs, and the compacts, and those are $1,000 to win guaranteed in each one of those one and dones. RC Derby with JMW Motorsports, Power Wheels, the Kids Zone and a play area. So if the kids are getting bored and restless, they don't want to watch any more of the Derby, there's going to be a sitter there. You can drop them off. There's all sorts of coloring activities, games, and such like that are going to be set up over there. And the kids area, which is a really neat add-on.
I can't believe Josh volunteered to do that. That's awesome.
Road Rage Entertainment is the host of it. June the 2nd, Broome County Fairgrounds at Whitney Point, www.facebook.com/Road Rage Enter. That'll get you to the Facebook page. Entertainment was too long. It was too many characters, and it wouldn't fit. We're going to turn our attention briefly to the Florida Southern National Showdown, February the 10th, 2018. Two-man team Demolition Derby. 20 teams from all over the nation are going to be competing, and it's going to be the first time that Brian gets to set up all the SDI equipment. Hernando County Fairgrounds is the home of it in Brooksville, Florida. Tickets and event info, hernandofairgrounds.com. The card is stacked. It is going to be a phenomenal show, and that is going to be free on YouTube right here with Finger Lakes 1. So we're looking forward to getting down there to be part of that one.
I predict 10,000 views.
It's a safe bet. Thankfully, in St. Peter, Minnesota, I'll have cell phone reception. So if you have any issues, you can get a hold of me, and I'll be an hour behind you. So when you go at 7 o'clock, it'll be 6 o'clock there, and our derby's already going to be done and over with. WinterSLAM, it is full. And we're going to turn our conversation to WinterSLAM here for a few minutes. The full-size weld class is full. No wagons allowed. Fresh cars only. 35 cars max. 2,000 to win there. They're paying the top 10 in all the divisions. 80 chain class. All the divisions maxed at 35 cars. This one sells out, and they could probably do a second flight of them if there was enough daylight hours in the day. It's impressive what the turnout there is. We had tried to get Stacy Flynn, and it didn't come together tonight, but we're going to be having Stacy Flynn on again here in a couple weeks to talk a little bit about that 80s wire class and his experience at Blizzard Bash this year. 1,000 to win in the 80s chain class, 750, 400, 300 through the top 3 again, paying through the top 10. Light build trucks, 35 max, 1,000 to win, 600, 300, back through the top 3, paying through the top 10. Compacts, 108 inches and under, 1,000 to win there. Each class has a heavy hitter, $300 plus a trophy. The best paint gets $100 and a plaque. The longest tow award gets $100, and the second longest gets $75. Best Western Mankato has limited rooms available at this point. $99 for a double, $109 for poolside, 507-625-9333. If you have additional logistical information, contact Randy Wasowski, 507-327-1944. That's 507-327-1944. Or if you have rules questions, get a hold of Jeremy Ertman, 507-525-4290, 507-525-4290. Again, February the 10th, St. Peter, Minnesota, WinterSLAM, presented by Napa. Awesome to be looking at that one coming up on the horizon. Again, that one is only, it's less than a month away at this point, and that show front to back is always so good. I tried to get a hold of Brett Nelson a little bit today, and he said he doesn't do interviews, but he's looking forward to it. The turnout that they've had there the last several years has just been outstanding. How fast that show sells out, and there's not a lot of downtime there either. You know, everybody recognizes how potentially cold it could be, so they get that track turned around so fast, and it's just vicious front to back. And it's one of the only times through the course of the year where we don't always know what's happening on the track, because it's the only derbies that we're allowed to go to on the regular where they run actual antifreeze versus water, because the blocks would freeze for some of these guys in their travels. Mm-hmm. And when the radiators break, that ethylene glycol steams up in a thick cloud, and you can't see across the track. You don't know what's happening.
Mm-hmm. We've never been let down by this show. I mean, from the first one, I would say it's improved every year. Even the on track action. I mean, the first year they had the trucks that weren't bending because they were a little too hard for the conditions. Randy changed that up, and they went to more of a stock build. Now those trucks are tearing each other up. You know, the wire class is always a great show. The weld class, it's just every year, you know, it gets better and better, fills up quicker and quicker. And I don't know what the percentage.
Randy's doing a drawing now.
Oh, no,
I don't know if you noticed that.
Wow.
For the last 2 years, I think, he's had to do a drawing for the 80s class. They have so many entries that they take all the entries together, and they have to do a drawing just because there's so many. And we've talked to them before. They've discussed the potential of going to a heats and feature type format. They've discussed the potential of adding another flight of those 80s cars. But the 80s cars, it generally takes, let's say it takes a loose 30 minutes. We've seen it go as fast as 19, and we've seen it take as long as 40, varying on track conditions. You can't add another one. There's just, you know, they've even moved the start time back to try and take advantage of as much daylight time as they can, but you still have to inspect all those cars the first day. Yeah. And if you got to get them all through tech inspection and you still want to start on time, there's something has to give. So you're looking at 4 one and dones, and it's an elite group. If you get on the inside of WinterSLAM, don't ever give that spot up, because you might. It's like getting tickets to Bristol.
Yeah.
Used to be.
Yeah. Yeah. No kidding. Definitely. I mean, that's the thing. You know, you know, like I said, every year it's been very impressive. Definitely one of those bucket list derbies. If you're on the fence, I would go in a heartbeat. You know, I've definitely one of my favorite derbies. Is going to be different not being up there this year for it, but I'm going to
be warmer.
Yeah, see something a little different. Going to see something a little different down in Florida. Hopefully there's no hurricanes. But you know, it's a great show. I've never been disappointed by it.
We got to talk to Randy and see if we can get a projector put into the party hall for after the Derby, so we can put the Florida Derby up on the wall.
That'd be cool.
That's what we got to do.
That'd be cool.
And then I can message you about it not working, even though it is, just to torment Josh.
But then we'll be ways ahead of you or behind you. So
what?
By the time you get everything set up, and you'll be just relaxed, and you know you aren't.
I won't have anything to set up because all my stuff's going to be with you guys.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's looking forward to it. Both derbies are going to be incredible. You know, the names going to Florida. You know, that's going to be awesome. There's also always great drivers and builders. No one knows what Chris Lancaster's going to show up with. We've seen 3 or 4 different cars on his page. But he usually shows up with something pretty cool up there.
He goes up there to have fun, and I think a lot of the drivers do. I don't know. There's a percentage of drivers that no matter what Demolition Derby you're at, they're going there with the intention of winning. This is one of those shows where I think falls into a rare company where they're not out there expressly to win. Yeah, they want the money at the end of the day. Everybody does, but it's such a much more relaxed atmosphere for so many of the drivers because the rest of the year is so serious. I mean, the last time Chris Lancaster was on track was Blizzard Bash, theoretically. So why not break into the season having a little bit of fun? Because there's only more pressure coming. You know? Yeah,
there's definitely, you can definitely, notice at derbies when pressure gets ratcheted up. But you're right. I never really thought about it, but Blizzard Bash is WinterSLAM is pretty laid back. Everybody's, it's kind of like, the first day at school. You know what I mean? Everybody's checking out the new stuff. And you haven't seen everybody in a little while. And it's really pretty festive.
Brzezinski's coming to Vend.
Oh yeah,
he's going to have all of his equipment there. He's doing a ton of deliveries now with stuff in preparation to go to WinterSLAM. You can't overlook Mitch Carlson.
Yep.
Mitch Carlson's a guy that's due, big time due. Matt Stenberg, absolutely.
What was it? First shot last year, he lost steering.
Yeah, and he drove into the
second or third,
five,
wasn't he?
Top 5 for sure. It might have been third.
Yeah,
he was there it was a long night for him.
Yeah,
real long night for him. And the list goes on. I mean, Seth Steinmeier.
Yep.
Remember that run he had in that gray car
after the shop burned up.
Right,
and they got out was the car.
Jay Olberg.
Yep.
Another guy that he is definitely due for some good luck and a solid finish.
Did you see the thing on Facebook where Bandau said maybe I'll just build the car and let somebody else drive it? I feel like building but not driving. That would be a nice. I wouldn't mind jumping in a Bandau car and running. That'd be fun.
No chance. No chance. I still remember the one time we were at WinterSLAM when Josh had the car that he and Bando had collaborated on, and Josh drove it into the berm and just started ripping wires out, and it wouldn't shut off because it was on fire. And he ended up reaching up and pulling the wire right out of the back of the distributor to get it to shut off. That was scary.
Mm-hmm.
It was the first year when Josh had that Lincoln.
Mm-hmm.
And he drove pretty well.
Yeah.
But
Top
when
5.
he got out, he had the Lincoln that Jesse Keel had built for him. Yep. And Daniel Orr sat next to him and gave him the I'm watching you. And Josh got out after he'd driven for quite a while. That was Chris Zacharias was one of the guys who was out there, and he tattooed him a couple times. And Kenny Rosno was out there with a Blizz Axe, and he got Josh a couple times. And Josh got out and took his helmet off, and he was sweaty.
Mm-hmm.
He was real sweaty. And then his hair froze. But it worked out great because it looked like he still had his hair gel on because the flip was still.
Oh, goodness.
You know the thing he does with his bangs?
Yeah. Yep.
He's listening right now. He messaged me. He said, talk about me a little bit because I just got my Florida car started, so I did. I don't think it must be. I bet you that's not what he meant. He got his Florida car started. His 2-man.
By he means the crew got the Florida car started.
I'm pretty confident he had nothing to do with it.
But Katie makes them really good food, brings out cheese trays. So, there's definitely bonuses to working at Josh's shop.
I'm sure there's plenty of bonuses to working at Josh's shop. You get to watch the man, the myth, the legend talk on his phone all night while you're welding on his car.
Absolutely.
He wore the original Josh Decker shirt to New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear about that?
Mm-mm.
It was the first Josh Decker shirt that was produced with the 21 on it and everything on the back, the 2 cars on the back. And it was all full of these holes, full of these little pock marks. And he goes, yeah, it's the original shirt. I was getting hot. And Tommy Dodd was standing right there. And he goes, this is the original. And Tommy goes, how does anybody know that's the original? And Josh said, well, it's got all the weld holes in it. And he goes, what, were you standing too close when Jerry was welded?
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
That's great. I got to talk to Mr. Dowd a little bit at the New Year's Eve party. That was cool.
He just shared a picture. I don't know what year it was from of
him playing soccer?
Playing soccer and running track.
Yep.
He was running 11 threes in the 100. It was a school record.
It's hard to believe those little legs could go that fast.
I know.
I mean, his legs are like 2 foot long.
He's cutting the wind resistance down.
Yeah, he is. No doubt. Oh, you were distance. You weren't. Were you?
No, I ran 1, 2, 4, and 4x4.
What was your best one?
We set a school record and won sectionals in the 4x4.
That's impressive.
Yeah, we were in the low 50s.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I was happy with that. The one was not good. The one, I think my best was like an 11.9 or something like that. But that was a long time ago. That was a solid. When I did that, that's 18 years ago.
Probably do it in, like 5 minutes now?
No. It'd take longer.
So there's been some times we've ran across airports. Usually O'Hare.
Yes.
But we've made some good time. But
we had to sprint back down the street one time. We were trying to make a flight, and I'd left one of the gear bags at the house, and we stopped at the stop sign, and I had to sprint back to the house to get it. And by the time you'd gotten backed up, I was already coming back out of the house.
I don't remember that.
No.
Maybe it was a trip.
That was one of the first times that you realized that I had Sirius in the van, and you could listen to hair metal the whole way up. And I was lectured for a solid 20 minutes about why I hadn't told you sooner.
What show was that? Was it one of the bashes? Bash for Cashes?
I don't know. Sticks in my hand, there was snow on the ground, so it could have been WinterSLAM. I don't know.
That's when we go to a snow on the ground usually.
I know, it's pretty limited, because it would have been either Topeka and we met everybody at the airport, Topeka and we met everybody at the airport in the spring, or WinterSLAM. We haven't had a lot of other events where we drove to an airport when there would be snow on the ground.
Yeah. Strange.
But Brian's feelings were very hurt that I didn't tell him that he listened to hair metal the whole way to Ohio or wherever the year prior when he realized that we had Sirius. But now Sirius is shut off, so we're back to listening to terrestrial radio, at least for now. Might pick up a 1-month subscription for May just in case.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. 'Cause chances are I'm going to be driving back by myself at whatever time we get done Sunday night. So,
but we're gonna be out there, Bash for Cash.
It's amazing. I've touched it 100 times, but once a show is, Chris doesn't sleep a lot during the week, and in all honesty, it's not because he's raising hell. He's very about his production and his show. And it's his baby, so he's got a lot of things on his mind. But once the show's over and things have went well, he finally passes out in the van and or the plane for that matter. And it's always the same pose with a head cocked back, and it's funny. We I stopped usually coming home from Ohio. I stopped as close as I can get to New York, as close to Buffalo as I can get. And
there's that one TA that we hit in Erie.
Sneak in and get a couple Mountain Dews and walk around a little bit, and then I'm usually good for the rest of the way home. But had a lot of fun on those short jaunts. No more 10 hours.
5 hours isn't a big deal anymore.
yeah. It's interesting, but
just another day at the office.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to it, man. It's hard to believe we're going to be back in business here in 3 weeks.
3 weeks. I know, 3 weeks. We do got to get a time where everybody can get together and we can walk through the setup of all that stuff again so that you guys know what to do. It's not that different from what it was before.
All right, but I didn't pay attention the first time.
I know you didn't.
I was going with you.
I'm aware.
I was going with you, so I didn't have to
No, I wish you had better notes.
I'm actually taking notes this time. Just videotaping something.
Yeah, videotaping. Remember we tried to videotape it and then all the phones were full?
Mm-hmm.
That was a good time.
Yep.
Well, what do you think?
I think we're ready.
Cover all our bases?
We did.
Hopefully we'll get Stacy on next week. I'd like to do that, and found out a little late in the day to coordinate everything else. And then Josh, we had talked about Josh calling in, but he was also going to be working on the car, so I didn't want to interrupt him. And Josh sending his last comment is Steve Siopa is in trouble because he's got that car fired up and he's coming for him apparently. So the line's in the sand and Decker's coming for the Siopas. I'm not sure if I probably should have found out if that's what he meant. Anyway, we assume that's what it is.
That's awesome.
He's already told me I'm a dick 3 times since we started talking about him.
Chris, did you get a new phone?
Huh?
Did you get a new phone?
No. No.
Right.
No, I did not get a new phone. This is the same phone that I've had for a very long time. You probably don't recognize it though because it's out of its armor.
Okay.
The USB charger doesn't work anymore.
Okay.
So in order to keep this phone powered up, I have to pop the back off it and put new batteries in it. Meanwhile, the other battery is on this handy little wall charger. And there's the insurance right there. So I took it out of it.
There's no problems that Chris Marquardt cannot fix.
I took all the cladding off of it for tonight so that in the event that the battery got low or that battery, the battery's a $4 battery I got off of eBay, so it's bound to fail at some point. So I figured that if in the event the battery did glitch, we had two other backup plans at the ready that we could plug in, and we could get Tim back on the phone and finish our conversation with him.
Just real quick, I touched base with Jeremy Gully and asked him how many spots he has left. He said he thinks.
I'm listening. Drum roll.
3.
3?
Yeah, in a week. Wow. So if you have any interest in running, I would get after it. I wouldn't wait any longer. Not that you've waited too long, anyways. But Jeremy said he thinks he has 3 left. So
wow, that's impressive.
Yeah,
that's 125% payback.
Yeah.
So all the money that comes in plus another 25% to make the
my shout out. Great job to the Compact guys for stepping up and supporting Jeremy. Can't wait. I'm glad you guys are getting a big show like this. You guys definitely deserve it. That class has grown leaps and bounds. So great to hear. Can't wait to see all you guys out there tearing stuff up. Maybe I'll sneak down with the car if Chris would buy me one like he does for Josh, but that's another topic for off air. So see what happens.
Thank you. Thank you. A couple items that we missed. Megan Wood, the girlfriend of Lee Seeger, having a birthday today. Michelle Osmond, Joey Foster, Mike Green, and Carl Drum, all celebrating birthdays today. And of course, today is not just a day off. A lot of folks missed the point that today is a day to celebrate the diversity of what we've got, and we feel very fortunate that in our travels we've been able to meet a lot of outstanding people from all different walks of life. And make sure you keep in mind that this is a day to recognize charitable contributions, give back to your community, and celebrate the life of one of the greatest civil rights leaders that this country's ever come to know. There's only 3 people in the history of the United States that have had a federal holiday dedicated to their memory. George Washington, our first president, Christopher Columbus, who founded our country, and Martin Luther King Jr. Don't forget that. Guys, I appreciate you coming in and enjoying our show tonight. That's going to do it for us. Episode number 213 is in the books. That's going to do it from the North Park building here at Academy Square. We'll see everybody next week.
Crash Course Live is presented by Smash It Demolition Derby, who host Bash for Cash, Blizzard Bash, and Capital City Carnage. Online at smashitderby.com. And Stirring Dirt Racing, hosts of Maymania's team show at the Golden Spike Arena in Ogden, Utah. Online at stirringdirtracing.com. Reckless Abandon Derby Apparel, and Derby Inc. Magazine. This is the Crash Course Demolition Derby podcast, recorded live at the FingerLakes1.com studios in downtown Seneca Falls, New York.